Valley Middle School. This is Mr. Martin welcoming you back for our second STEMS Day activity of this school year. Today, you are going to work in your advisory to create some paper support structures. What do I mean by that? I mean you are going to get only paper and tape, and you are going to have to design and build something that can hold textbooks at least 6 inches off of the surface of a table. Here's an example of one that I made. You can see I blacked out what my design looks like, so you can't just copy it. Nice try. This one was able to hold 25.8 pounds of textbooks. I bet some of you out there are going to easily be able to beat this. Here's what we're going to do today. So, as a reminder, our STEMS Day activities are a way for us to go through and practice our collaborative design process that is going to help us all become better problem solvers. So I'm going to walk you through this wheel again and explain to you what this activity is going to be. As always, we start with our challenge. So here is our challenge statement. In groups of 3 today, you are going to design and build a freestanding structure that can hold at least one textbook 6 inches off the surface of a table in your classroom. Seems pretty easy, right? Well, here's some of the constraints. You can only use the materials that I have provided for you today, and you are going to get in your group only 5 sheets of regular printer paper and 6 inches of masking tape. That is all. You cannot attach this to any other surface, any other structure. You can't tape it to the wall or hang it from the ceiling. It's got to be freestanding and resting on top of the surface you use. And it has to hold the books at least 6 inches off of that table surface. Quite the challenge today. I know you can do it. Moving on from our challenge, the next step in our process is the imagine phase. This is where you're going to get with your team of 3. You're going to brainstorm. You're going to start thinking, start observing, wondering, looking at the world around you. How can you construct this with the materials that have been provided for you today? Take a look around the classroom for some design ideas. What are some things you see in this room that might be able to complete this challenge? And could you mimic that with the materials I've provided? Think about some of the structures that you see in the world around you, in your environment, at home, out shopping, hanging out with friends. We're going to spend a few minutes imagining, brainstorming, coming up with our ideas. And then in your team, you're going to choose your best idea that you might have. Sketch out a picture of what this is going to look like. This is kind of the drawing out stage. This is going to be your plan, what you can then go back to and look at as you are building, designing, creating today. So once you've brainstormed and once you've sketched out a good plan of what it is you're going to do, now you can start making the fun part. So in your group, you're going to actually create that structure based on the design from the previous step. Remember, you only get 5 sheets of paper, 6 inches of tape, and then some scissors if you need to do some cutting or need to split up those pieces of paper into smaller things. But that is all you get. So you're going to spend the bulk of your time today actually trying to make and create this structure. Once you think it is set and it is ready to go, now we do the testing phase. We're going to try it out. So for testing today, you're going to put your structure on top of a table, and then you're going to start placing a textbook. Start with a textbook on top of your structure. And if it works, if it holds up, slowly start adding more weight to it. You can add more books if your teacher has textbooks available, or really anything in the room that can go on top of this surface. And let's see how much you can put on top of this. Paper is surprisingly strong, believe it or not. As you saw in the first picture, I was able to hold over 25 pounds using only 5 sheets of paper. So when you're testing, You want to go ahead and gather some information, gather some data. This is going to mostly be just by observing today, but what worked? What didn't work? Bring your design back, fix it, change it. If it completely fell apart, get more paper and try another one. Retest it. This part of the phase does not just stop when you test it the first time. You go back and you fix it, and you test it again. You fix it, and you test it again. And let's see who can get the strongest structure in your advisory. In fact, let's make things a little interesting. Teachers, this is for you here, I want you to please take a picture of what ends up being the strongest structure in your advisory. Take a picture of it with all the weights still on top of it and email it to me. I am going to choose what I think is the strongest, best design in the school, and I am going to buy donuts for that entire advisory. So let's see who can make the best one out there in Valley Middle School of STEM. After you've done and tested and retested and built and rebuilt, we're going to move on to the last part of our wheel, which is a very important part. This is where we share out our experience, share out what happened. As a class, what sort of things worked with these structures? What completely didn't work? What did you observe? What do you wonder about? Maybe some different materials would work better. What would you think this would look like if we had more paper, less paper, different types of tape? Let's share all these out and figure out what we have, knowledge we have gained from this experience. As always, please leave enough time to clean up. You don't have a lot of supplies today, so this should be a pretty easy cleanup. Teachers, please bring the extra supplies and your containers back to room 201 when you get a chance today. Here's our suggested schedule. As always, we're going to go through the process and start with our imagine phase. Take about 5 minutes there, maybe about 5 minutes to design. You're going to spend the bulk of the time creating, testing, evaluating, then time for sharing, time for cleaning up. Good luck, Valley Middle School STEM. I can't wait to see what sort of designs you all come up with today. Good luck. Please, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.